Hey guys, this is Gamers from Nowhere. Wow. So yeah,
Coming from the headquarters of nowhere.
Nowhere. So today, we wanted to talk about what I think is on a lot of people's minds, which is the release of the Nintendo NX.
Yes.
Nintendo has told us that, at least for quite a while now, that the NX is coming out at some point in the future, and that we're going to hear more information about it this year. That does not necessarily mean it's being released this year, but that we will hear more information about it.
I kind of don't want it to be released this year. I feel like the Wii U has too many big name games coming out this year in order for them to be like, hey, here's this game that we spent so much time developing, and then here's this big new game system. Don't buy our old stuff, buy the new stuff.
I think so, and I agree to an extent. Here's, I think, the big problem was, I think Nintendo should have not maybe made a hubbub, because, so we first heard about the NX when Iwata was at, I think, an investor meeting, and he mentioned that this new platform called the NX is coming out.
The new Project Dolphin.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people, that just sort of generated a lot of speculation about when it's coming out, and I think that put a lot of anxiety on potential consumers, because now there's a lot of people, because I worked at GameStop, and I can tell you firsthand that there are people there who will be like, is getting a Wii U worth it right now, because there might be a new system coming out. And honestly, I don't know what to tell them. I'm like, I don't know. Like,
well, there's just not much information out there, honestly.
I feel like saying what he said about NX sort of injected a bit of uncertainty into the gaming market.
Well, and I feel like it kind of blew out of proportion.
Right.
I feel like I don't know. I feel like he might have jumped the gun by saying it.
Yeah.
Because when did he say it?
It was like, I don't remember. It was a DENA meeting. It was where he announced that they were going to make mobile games, which still haven't come out yet.
Right.
Which I think are hitting March. I think the first one, Miitomo, is called. It's like a Mii game.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
for the phone.
Yes, I remember that.
So, yeah.
Well, and
I don't remember when it was. It was a while ago. I'd say about a year ago. I'd say 1 year.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if you think about it, he knew he was sick, and so he might have, and this is completely speculation here, he knew he was sick, and so he might have wanted to try to put some information out there about it, because he knew that other people wouldn't get it out the way he would want it to be out.
That's true.
After his passing.
So, it's actually, what's an interesting fact about that? Kimishima, who's the current president of Nintendo, to replace Iwata, actually, there was an interview, and they asked him, what does NX stand for? And he was like, I don't know. Iwata never had the chance to tell me what it actually meant. So,
and see, that's the thing. I think that
I feel like that, just the fact that he says that tells us that there must have been, like, at some point, like, they must have thought he was getting better at some point, and then something must have taken a drastic turn for the worse.
In the medical field, it's always said that you get better before it gets worse. Right. And so, not that I work in the medical field, but I know a bunch of people that work in the medical field. And they say that the people that are really, really sick always make a huge turnaround right before the big fall,
Right. Yeah, I guess that was it. Because we saw that he was thinning out, but at the same time, He never
really looked bad.
He never looked that bad, yeah. He never...
Now, although... when we watched E3 this past year, we never really saw.
We never saw him.
Because he was a Muppet,
which I loved, by the way. I thought that was.
I thought it was a genius marketing thing.
Yeah. So it's just so right now. I'm just gonna read some stuff. Like if I just type in Nintendo NX into Google, here we go. A Nintendo NX rumored to work with smartphones, PCs, and competing consoles. And this one, latest leaks suggest a Nintendo NX may run at 100p resolution and have motion controls. And this one's like, the latest NX leak just demonstrates exactly why Nintendo needs to start talking. We have evolved to a point where we have tabloid magazine-esque articles about gaming, which in one hand means that gaming has officially entered the mainstream. On the other hand, it means that it's officially time for video games to be bad marketing. I mean, to have bad reporting, right, and just have nonsense written about them. I think that's what sort of comes with being in the mainstream.
Well, you're going to have a whole bunch of there's a Mew behind the truck going rampant out there now.
It's ridiculous.
Everything.
It's ridiculous about all this like stuff because it's just this weird speculation. So, but let's talk about let's turn a little bit here. What does Nintendo need to do to make the NX successful?
I think they need to perfect motion controls if that's going to be a focal point. I'm glad they kind of went away with that from the Wii U.
I agree.
Because that was a huge misplay for them on the Wii, especially when you had Kinect come out shortly after, and it was much better than what the Wiimote was. And then you had the debatable, but at the same time,
I like it. I actually liked it.
At the same time, it picked up better, and you didn't have to have a actual controller to play the game. You just had to stand there and do stuff. Now, PlayStation 3, I don't remember what their...
it was the PlayStation Plus, I think.
That's what it was. Which is confusing because you had the PlayStation Plus and then you had the Wii Motion Plus.
Well, actually, fun fact, when I was at GameStop, it's called, I think it's the Motion Plus. The PlayStation Move, my bad. Not Move.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's the Move. I said Plus. PlayStation Move, and I remember when I was at GameStop, someone was asking, like, "Hey, you got that thing? They got that PlayStation like lollipop looking thing?" And I was like, so I was like, I went up to my manager. I was like, "Do we have the PlayStation lollipop?" And they just looked at me like I was insane, because I also didn't know the name of it, so I just called it that. Anyway, what are you talking about?
We were talking about for the NX, if they're going to have motion controls, it needs to be. The bugs need to be worked out.
It needs to be worked out, and honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of motion controls. I think it was a very neat idea at the time. Part of the reason the Wii was so successful for its era was because motion controls hadn't really been done yet.
Right.
Part of the reason I think the Wii U was not as successful is because by the time the Wii U came out, everyone already had tablet technology. It wasn't a new thing.
Right.
It wasn't... well, there's a lot of reasons why the Wii U didn't work out, but that's one of them, I think.
Being called the Wii U was a part of it.
Obviously, yeah. I have no idea why they decided to do that.
Kind of like the new 3DS.
Yeah. Nintendo. God, they need to work on naming. It's an absolute nightmare to go and try to buy a new 3DS.
It is. Do you want a new 3DS or a new 3DS?
Right.
But I feel like we're getting closer to the age of virtual reality.
That's sort of the looming shadow right now. That I think Nintendo and I think a lot of gaming companies are just sort of like, what is this? Is this going to be the next big market breakout, or is it not?
Well, Microsoft is going headstrong into it. If you watched the Microsoft E3, I think it was with the Oculus Rift that they were paired up with it, and they did a Minecraft simulation for it.
Oh, that was the hologram thingy, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
It's something like that. I can't remember.
In a sense, it was kind of virtual reality, kind of not.
Yeah, but they're tinkering with the technology, no doubt. Obviously, PlayStation. I don't think they call it the Morpheus anymore. Let me see what it's called. PlayStation VR.
Oculus Rift is a great name, by the way.
I think it's pretty dank. Okay, well, it's called PlayStation VR. But it was called Morpheus. I think is the project name was. It's so right now there's sort of big competing because Oculus Rift, the consumer product, is being released soon, and there was a big outcry about it because originally the plan was to have it released for I think about $300-$400 in that price range. Mm-hmm. Instead, it's going to be about $600.
Which, I mean, right now,
I think the technology's new. If you don't have the specs for it, why are you buying it anyway?
Exactly.
So I don't think it's that big a deal, but some people think it's a big hubbub.
I've seen people play with the Oculus Rift like on YouTube and stuff, and I mean, I don't know how they stream it because I don't know much about the Oculus Rift itself as a whole.
Yeah.
But it looks really cool. If it's as immersive as they make it sound, it's going to be awesome. I'm so looking forward to it. I just don't feel like dropping $1,000 on it now to get it.
Yeah. It's really going to. I think it's going to completely depend on the hardware. Well, actually, in this case, the software building the technology. As I think every platform is reliant on its software first and foremost. So as cool as the Oculus Rift may be, it might be the newest, coolest thing ever. If it doesn't have the software to back it up, there's no point in me getting it. That's part of the reason people have the problem with the PS Vita is that it is a beautiful system. I love my PS Vita. I think it has great, graphics are awesome. It's just the screen's so clear, and you can do so much stuff. You can just instantly download games almost,
right? And
it has a great classic library of games. But the new games, there aren't that many of them.
Well, the PS Vita has pretty much died out in a sense. Not like they're not making any more of them, but with the fact that you can go and pay almost as much for a PS Vita game as you could for a PlayStation 4 game.
Maybe, yeah.
More people are going to want to buy the PlayStation just for graphic and more immersiveness.
Yeah. I agree. We got off topic.
Yeah, we did.
Anyway, what I was trying to say was that do you think that the specter, the shadow of VR, is going to hinder Nintendo in any way? Do you think that Nintendo should start working on something like that to compete? Do you think the NX should have some sort of compatibility with that, or do you think?
I feel like Nintendo's been ahead of the curve on most things.
Yeah.
I mean, look, they put the Wii U out how many years before we had an Xbox One and PlayStation 4? I mean,
it was like one or two, maybe 2 years.
Yeah, they were. Well, I thought it was even more than that, but I mean, I could see it being 2.
That's the thing is so the problem is with the Nintendo right now is they're at a crux right now. One of the big Nintendo philosophy of Nintendo is that they use older technology in creative ways. That's one of their staple philosophies throughout their entire life.
Right.
So that's the success story of the Game Boy. The Game Boy compared to the Game Gear was a piece of crap.
Yeah.
But it had better games, so people bought the Game Boy. But the point is that we're at a point now where if you don't have the latest Call of Duty, if you don't have the latest 2K16, whatever,
yeah,
can your console succeed if you don't have those games?
I mean, if you look, while Nintendo has not flourished as it has in the past, they don't really. Those aren't their main focused games like your PlayStation and Xbox.
Right. But
I mean, let's be honest. On the Nintendo systems, those games are crap to play. Just because of control-wise. You're so used... It's so much better to play it on the other systems. I know this because I play a bunch of sports games on the Xbox One and the PlayStation stuff. But to sit there and want to play it on... The controls are just so confusing to me because they're so different.
Right.
That's the part I don't like about it. But... And also, going back to Wii, the graphics were so off-putting.
For their time, they were all right, but...
They were all right, but then you look at...
Even the 360 or PS3.
Yeah, you look at a game for all three systems. If you were going to play a sports game, you didn't want to play... Because it looked like you were playing on PlayStation 2.
Kind of.
In my opinion, it did, at least.
Yeah. I feel like...
But, again, I feel like Nintendo's been ahead of the curve in a bunch of different areas in the video game industry. I think that they have a grasp on what they're doing.
Right.
That's obvious. I wouldn't be surprised if this NX system, whenever it comes out, I would not be surprised if it has some form of virtual reality compatibility.
Right.
Not necessarily like it's going to come out and be like, oh, this is a virtual reality system. Because if that was the case, I mean, I know that they tried to do it with Virtual Boy and it failed. And if you don't know what Virtual Boy is, then you are way too young. But still, I think that they kind of have an idea as to what they're wanting to do. And it's possible. It's possible that they could have something with virtual reality.
So, one of the things that I think about one of Nintendo's consoles is that when we see... So, we have like Bethesda games. Fallout 4, Skyrim. Those come out for 360, PS3. Obviously, the new Elder Scrolls game is going to come out for
Xbox One.
Xbox One and PS4.
Yeah.
And there seems to be no indication that it's coming out for Wii U or NX, whatever.
Yeah.
It's just so. But part of the reason people don't port the games onto the NX, from what I understand, third-party publishers like Bethesda, like whoever makes those sports games, I don't know, Madden, whatever.
Yeah, you were right when you call them 2K.
Or EA.
2K Sports,
Yeah.
EA games.
Yeah. So what they say, they look at the technology at the time. They say, what could best represent our game?
Mm-hmm.
They say the PS4 can, the Xbox One can, the Wii U can't. Now, I'm normally not the person who cares about graphics, but if we're looking at the overall welfare for the NX system, do you think it's better that they invest in hard graphics to get some of those people back onto the system? Because it feels like the Nintendo consoles are becoming a side console for systems, something that you can play their exclusive games on, but your main console is going to be your PS4, Xbox One, or PC.
Yeah, I agree in that sense, and I do believe that they need to focus in more on a more realistic graphic as opposed to the cartoon graphics that we got. Because I mean, you look at some of these games that are out there. Mario Kart 8.
That's gorgeous, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's
Okay.
it's gorgeous, but imagine if you were to go out there and play a game like Sniper Elite or
Right,
Call of Duty on something like that. It's the graphics are not as well polished.
Right.
And it's because those are a more realistic graphic as opposed to this cartoon graphic that we have.
Right.
Smash Brothers, gorgeous game to play.
Yeah.
But if you look at it, isn't there a Nintendo stage?
Right.
Look at how well the dog looks. I mean, it's just those kind of things. Now, I'm not saying that the dog in Call of Duty looks all that amazing, but definitely looks a whole lot better than the Nintendo does.
Well, another thing is another thing that isolates third-party publisher from Nintendo is the Nintendo's reliance on weird stuff like the gamepad, the Wiimote, this sort of stuff. So a lot
Kind of gimmicky.
at least that's what critics say. It's gimmicky. I happen to like the Wii U gamepad. I think it's awesome.
I think the Wii U gamepad was a great idea.
I do too.
Because I love that I can sit far away from the TV and play on the gamepad and not even have to have the TV on. Somebody else can be watching TV as I play on the gamepad. Makes it almost a handheld system at that point, but at the same time, it's not. I thought that was a genius thing, and I love that it kind of, in my opinion, brought out more in multiplayer because there are so many different games that they have out there, like Zombie U. I think of Zombie U because you can play multiplayer on it, but it's like a not necessarily campaign multiplayer. It's a you versus me kind of thing,
Right.
and you got one person playing on the TV while somebody's on the gamepad doing something completely different. It makes it almost feel like a board game in a sense, but at the same time, you're playing a video game.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about it.
Yeah, I actually really like it too. I think it's just really convenient, and and it works well with the games that works well with Mario Maker, Splatoon, arguably Xenoblade.
Could you imagine trying to make levels on Mario Maker with like using the?
That was the perfect integration of that.
It was.
Honestly, I feel like they probably should have started the console with a game like that, Mario Maker.
I agree.
Instead of that's, I think, okay, this is my point. The big thing that Nintendo needs to do, if they want to encourage people to buy their console, they want to secure a spot in the market, is all the amiibo stuff is cute, all the amusement park stuff is cool, all the possible anime stuff that they just announced is neat. What they need to do for the NX is have a good launch lineup.
They need to have...
That will change everything, I think.
I agree. I think that where the Wii U messed up, aside from the name, is you look at the launch titles it had with it. It had, Super Mario Bros. Wii U, which is one of the same things that was out for the Wii. It was just updated. Oh boy, we get a new acorn.
Yeah.
Cool. And then, I mean, you didn't have that many games that were out there that were like, what were the games that came out as soon as the GameCube came out? No, I'm sorry. As soon as the Wii came out, what were
Let's see, you got Twilight Princess.
Yeah, Twilight Princess, which we haven't even had a legitimate Zelda game
yeah.
that's not a remake come
Right.
out for the
We
Wii
had,
U yet.
Twilight Princess.
Didn't
Mario Galaxy came out not too long after.
Didn't Brawl come out?
Brawl came out about a year or two after. So well, yeah. So I think let's see Mario Galaxy. When did that come out? If it 2007. So about a year after the Wii's launch, I think.
Look up what games launched with the Wii, because I mean Nintendo's had good launch titles. Think about the Nintendo 64. What launched with it? I mean, Super Mario 64.
Right.
Probably one of the best launch titles
Ever. GameCube had Luigi's Mansion, and then shortly after Mario Sunshine. Oh, Melee! Melee came out GameCube as soon as GameCube came out.
So I mean, and that's where I feel like they fell short, was the launch titles were just not there. It felt like it took. How long's the Wii U been out? Since what, 2012?
Right.
And it's 2016, and I would say probably from the latter end of 2014, and then a huge kind of gap in between that we've had good games. At the end of 2014, we had Mario
Kart. Yeah.
Mario Kart. And then at the first of that year, of last year, they didn't really have much come out again until summer.
Yeah.
When did Splatoon come out? I mean,
Splatoon. It was this year, 2015, or well, last year technically, 2015.
But I mean, I feel like the latter half of last year and then this year is when all the good games are coming out, which is why it's so confusing that they're hyping up the NX when you've got all your good games coming out now.
Yeah,
it feels like they're doing it backwards in a way.
Yeah. So I think that's the biggest thing, at least for me. I think they need to just get some software out there. Mm-hmm. You know, just hardcore. Maybe. What do you think they should start with? Do you think that they should bring Zelda Wii U to the NX, or do you think that's a slap in the face of people who bought the Wii U?
I think it's just a slap in the face of the people who bought the Wii U.
Okay.
Because depending on when it comes out. Now, if it comes out in 2017, late 2017 or 2018, okay, I could see them doing it then. You gave your public, your consumers enough time to go ahead and play it and enjoy it and be like,
right,
you know what, let me get it on this newer one with the better graphics. Hopefully.
Yeah.
But I kind of have been waiting for Mario Galaxy 3 to come out. And I'm kind of surprised that they didn't put one out for the Wii U, because the gamepad with that would have been perfect.
You know what? It would have been awesome. And you know what I've got to say? Pokemon Snap.
We did not plan that.
No, that was pretty crazy.
That would have been perfect as well.
That was such a missed opportunity.
It was.
Like, they're going to regret that.
And it's still a capability. You know, they've been putting out so much free Pokemon apps on the 3DS. It could be an easy little small something that they could put out there for the Wii U to get.
Yeah.
I mean, it really could be. Pokemon Rumble, really? If you can make a Pokemon Rumble game, you can easily make a Pokemon Snap game to put out and use it would be almost like the April Fool's Day thing, where you go through and you take pictures of the Pokemon that you found on your phone.
Right.
It would almost be like that. So I mean, the concept was out there. They just never went and did anything with it.
Yeah, I think, God, that would have been fantastic. Maybe Pokemon was apprehensive because they didn't think the Wii U was doing very well. I don't know.
And it could be. But that would have been a great launch title.
That would have been an amazing launch title.
Because think about it, we haven't had a Pokemon Snap game since the Nintendo 64.
Which is crazy.
It is, because it was a huge game. Sure, once you beat it, it was like, all right, just let me restart it and play it again, see if I can do any better, do it faster. But there are so many more Pokemon out there now that you could do so much more with it.
The game could be so much bigger.
It could be. And the Wii U has the capability to make it that big.
Yeah.
But anyway, for games that I could see them putting on the NX, unless they were to just randomly be like, oh, by the way, for the Wii U... Which I don't think we'll get any more major game announcements like that for Wii U. Unless they're going to plan to take forever to put the NX out. but I could see them launching it off with Mario Galaxy 3. Depending on how long it takes to come out, if they don't do, because you don't want to put too many Mario games out at one time. It could either be Super Mario Galaxy 3 or possibly, and this is kind of iffy, but maybe the new Mario Kart game.
Mario Kart 9.
Mario Kart 9. Mario Kart NX, whatever you want.
I think it may be Metroid.
Metroid needs to come back out, and it
needs to be Metroid this time, not
Metroid Prime, not Metroid.
Well, I'm okay with Metroid Prime.
Prime was cool, but I want them to go back to
2D.
No, not necessarily 2D, but I want them to kind of like take the Metroid series and redo it. You know, do like a Metroid Reloaded kind of thing, and you go through Metroid, Super Metroid, all those with Metroid Prime mechanics.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you fight Mother Brain in a 3D area, as opposed to, it will make it harder, but I think it would be really cool to see in today's mechanics, in today's game engines. I'm sure it will get like some sort of Animal Crossing, some sort of second rate. Not that Animal Crossing second rate, but
I don't know. I don't like it, but I know a lot of people do love Animal Crossing. Well, I'm trying to think. I think So I just think they have the IPs, they have the properties. They just need to get those out there. And they just need to appeal slightly more to third-party developers, just with their graphic capabilities. I think they'll have something really interesting on their hands.
I do too.
So I think for next episode, or whenever we do that, we can maybe talk about what we actually think the NX could look like.
Yeah, I agree.
And then stuff. Well, guys, thanks for joining us.
Before we leave, kind of just want to take a second and. I hate to end the episode on a sour note, but I feel like it's only fair that we, with as rough of a beginning of a year as we've had this year, for, I guess, what would you call it, Hollywood stardom?
Right.
I think it's only fair that we take a moment to pay our respects to the people that have helped pave the path for us doing what we do and love. For us to enjoy the things that we do and love. We've lost so many legends this year already, and we're barely halfway through the first month of the year. Yeah. We've lost Lemmy from Motorhead.
Yeah.
We've lost David Bowie. Alan Rickman. We lost those two within like 2 days of each other.
A day of each other. It was ridiculous.
And then just recently we lost Glenn Frey from the Eagles.
Right.
So the world will never be the same without these people, and it's a sad thing, but they're in a better place now. I'm pretty sure.
Maybe not Lemmy. I'm kidding.
Maybe not Lemmy, but
I'm kidding.
I'm pretty sure he didn't want to go to the better place.
So that's. Hopefully this year we can. There won't be as much of that nonsense. Hopefully 2016 got all that out of its system.
I saw a thing the other day. I was at the gym working out, and they were playing some sort of like Wall Street something, and it was so funny because it didn't hit me until I saw about Glenn Frey passing away. It said it had a big like logo thing pop up, and it said worst start ever to 2016, and I was like, you know what, this probably has been the worst start to a year yet. 2016 worst start to a year yet. I mean, I know that they were talking about money wise, but
yeah, I know what you mean.
it kind of hit home with that a little bit.
Yeah.
From nowhere, we salute you guys. Thank you for all that you've given to us and the countless hours of enjoyment from the music to the acting, to everything.
Okay.
We thank you guys, and we thank you all for listening.
Yeah, stay safe.
All right. Next time. See you later, guys.
All right, bye.